Hello, third grade. So we're going to start today by turning to Friday's page in our yellow packet, page 6. It says quadrilaterals, 4 sides at the top. Okay, so when we get to quadrilaterals, 4 sides, we're going to need to go to the next page, page 7. Also says Friday on the top, and I've already cut mine out. But we have a lot of shapes here that you're going to need to cut out or tear out of your paper. Okay, and that's page 7. You can also look at the helpful hints here. Helpful hints are that this symbol means a right angle, the square in the corner, and we can see here the squares in the corner of the rectangles. That means it's a right angle. Another helpful hint is that when there are 2 lines across from each other, opposite from each other on a shape, that means the 2 lines are a parallel pair. So I can look over here and see, okay, these lines are parallel to each other. They're going to run next to each other and never cross or get closer or farther apart from each other. And our third helpful hint is that if you have 2 pairs of parallel lines, the first ones are going to have the 1 line on it, but your second pair of parallel lines are going to have 2 lines on it. See how the right and left we did 2 lines to show that these 2 are parallel and they'll run next to each other forever and ever, never getting closer and never getting farther apart. Okay, so once you cut those out, we're going to go back to page 6, the quadrilaterals 4-side page. So pause this video and cut out your shapes now. All right, so you should go and get some glue or tape or a stapler or something to stick our shapes onto our page. So pause the video and go get something to stick your shapes onto our page now. If you really don't have anything in your house, you could redraw the pictures. You could redraw what I did, but you'll have to be careful to make sure that they look just like them. Okay, so pause the video and go get something sticky now. Okay, so here we go. So this is how this map works. These are quadrilaterals, and quadrilaterals all have 4 sides. Okay, so on this side we have quadrilaterals that have 4 right angles. So 4 of these right angles. Let's see, oh, I didn't draw those on there. Just like these, okay? On this side, the right side, we have shapes without 4 right angles. So these shapes don't need to have 4 right angles. We might have some right angles on this side, but they don't have to be there. On this side, they have to be there. Okay? So, I'm going to pick up a shape and we'll take a look at it together. Okay, let's start with, it's hard to pick up. Let's start with the one that has 5 on top, 5 on bottom, and 1s on each side. Okay, find that shape. Pause the video and find that shape. Okay, so first I'm going to look and see which side I'm going to need to be on. Am I looking for something that has 4 right angles or something that doesn't have 4 right angles? How many right angles does this shape have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So does it have 4 right angles? Think it in your brain. Say it out loud. Yeah, it does. So we're going to go over to this side. So it's either going to be a rectangle or a rectangle and a square. Okay, so if it's a rectangle, it will have 4 right angles. And it has that. So we already know it's a rectangle. A square has 4 right angles and all sides are the same length. So let's look. Does it qualify as a square too? Are all sides the same length? We have 5 on top and 5 on bottom. Those are the same length. But our sides are how long? Yeah, they're only 1, so they're not the same length. If we had 5, 5, 5, and 5, then they would all be the same length. But they're not. So they're just a rectangle, not a square. So I'm going to leave that under rectangles. Okay, Now I'm going to pick up another shape. Let's pick up this one. Okay, so I'm sorry, you guys. I realized I forgot to draw in. Ooh, let's see if I can do it real quick. Sorry, you guys. There we go. All right. How many right angles do I have in this shape? 1, 2. So, do I have 4 right angles? No, I don't. So we know I'm going to have to be on this side. So this can be without 4 right angles. So a rhombus, all sides are the same length. What do you guys think? Does this side look as long as this side? Or does this top one look as long as this bottom side? Bottom line? No, look, that's way shorter. This top one only goes down to here. But this bottom line stretches all the way over there. So we know they're not all the same sides. They're not all the same lengths. Parallelograms means opposite sides are parallel. Okay, so we have one pair of opposite sides that are parallel, right? We can see our lines drawn on them, and we can see that they won't touch. But are the other side, is the left and right side parallel? No, see how this one goes straight up and down, but this one is coming over here towards where this line will be. So let's look at trapezoids. It only needs one pair of parallel sides. Does this have one pair of parallel sides? Yeah, it does. So it's a trapezoid. It has 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, and one pair of parallel sides, and only 2 right angles. Okay, now let's look at our next shape. All right, so it's the small one that has 2 lines on the left and right side and 1 line on the top and bottom. Okay, so let's see. Do we see any right angles? Any boxes that show us that these are right angles? No. So, it doesn't have 4 right angles, right? This one says without 4 right angles, so this is probably going to be the side we're going to be on. So rhombuses, all sides are the same length. What do you guys think? Does this side look as long as this one? Think it in your brain. Say it out loud. Oh yeah, this is way shorter than this long one on the left to right. Parallelograms are opposite sides are parallel. Okay, let's look. Is the top and bottom parallel? Yeah, they stretch side to side. They're not going to touch. What about the left and right? Are they parallel? Yeah, they are. And look, we even have our clues that tell us that this is a pair of parallel lines, and these are parallel lines. Okay, so it is a parallelogram. So we're going to leave this here. All right, let's pick up our next shape. Because if it was a trapezoid, it would only need 1 pair, but we have 2. So it's not a trapezoid. Let's look at this one. Hey, I see already 1 pair of parallel lines. Do we see any right angles? No, so we're going to go to the side where you don't need to have 4 right angles. Okay. And are all sides the same length? Look at the top and bottom lines. Are they the same size? No, the bottom one's a lot longer than the top one, right? So it's not a rhombus. Parallelogram, opposite sides are parallel, but both of them have to be parallel. So it looks like these 2 are parallel, the top and bottom ones, but the left and right ones, they're not. They're going to crash into each other up here. So we have to go to trapezoid. 1 pair of parallel sides. Does it have 1 pair of parallel sides? Yes, it does. So we're going to leave it there. Okay, pull out your next shape. I'm using this one. Let's see. Does it have 4 right angles? Think it in your brain. Say it out loud. Yeah, it does have 4 right angles. So we're going to be on this side. It's either going to be a rectangle or a rectangle and a square. So all needs to have to be a rectangle is 4 right angles. Does it have that? It does. So it's a rectangle. Is it also a square? So squares have 4 right angles, okay, check, and all sides are the same length. Are all the sides the same length? Look, this is 1, 1, 1, and 1. So are they all the same length? Yeah, they are. So we can leave this right here. It is a square and a rectangle. Okay, let's pull up our next one. All right. Do we see 4 right angles? No, we don't. Because, at first I thought, wait a minute, we said sides that are all the same length, like this one is 3, 3, 3, and 3, that is squares. But squares have to have 4 right angles, and this doesn't have 4 right angles, so we're not even on that side. We need to come up here where things cannot have 4 right angles. Rhombuses have all sides the same length. They can have any number of angles. Their angles don't matter, but they can have 4 sides the same length. So, there we go. Are all sides the same length? Yeah. It looks like it might even be parallel to each other. It might also be a parallelogram. Things can be more than one category sometimes, and I'll show you guys that in a second, okay? All right, let's pull up this next one. Okay, so do we see 4 right angles? Nope. So we're going to be on this side without 4 right angles. Are all these sides the same length? No, they're not. Are opposite sides parallel? Yeah, they are. So we can leave this right here. Okay, and now trapezoids. Sorry, I don't know. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know why. I always make mistakes when I make these videos. Okay, let's pull up our next one. Do we have 4 right angles? Yes, we do. So we're going to be on the other side with 4 right angles. Okay, so rectangles have 4 right angles, and this has 4 right angles, so we know it's a rectangle. Is it also a square? Let's find out. Squares have the same lengths. All their sides are the same length. Are all these sides the same length? Here's 4, 4, 4, and 4. So yeah, it's also a square. It's a rectangle and a square. Pretty cool. Okay. Here's our next shape. All right. Does it have 4 right angles? Yes, it does. So it's a rectangle. We know that because rectangles, all they have to have is 4 right angles to be a rectangle. Is it also a square? Explain out loud if this is a square or if it's just a rectangle and how you know that. Pause the video to explain out loud like you're talking to your partner. All right, so squares have to be all the same length. And these are 3 on the left and right side, so that's the same. And on the top and bottom, they're 1. Those are the same as each other, but they don't match all 4 together. So the top and the bottom are 1, and the sides are 3. So we would need them to either all be 3 or all be 1. So it's just a rectangle. It's not a square. Okay, and our last shape looks like this. Does it have 4 right angles? No, it doesn't. So, think in your brain, which category do you think this is going to go under? It's going to be rhombus, parallelogram, or trapezoid. You might even have 2 right answers. So pause the video and figure out which shape do you think this belongs to. Okay, so there's sort of 2 answers for this one. So rhombus, remember, they don't have to have 4 right angles, and this doesn't. rhombuses all have the same length of sides. Does this all have the same length of sides? It does, so it is a rhombus. It might also be a parallelogram. Okay, let's see. Parallelograms, opposite sides, are parallel. And I didn't draw parallel lines, but we can look and see, do these look like they're getting closer or farther away from each other, the top and the bottom lines? No. What about the left and right ones? Sorry, you guys, I'm trying to make it dark with one hand. Do these look like they're getting farther or closer away from each other? They might because I messed up a little, but they're not supposed to. So it could also be a parallelogram. So if you were thinking rhombus or parallelogram, you're right. It's both of those. So we're going to leave it with the rhombus right now, but it could be either one. All right. And I want to point out something to you guys. Rhombuses, they don't have to have 4 right angles, but they could. It doesn't matter about their angles. So you could actually move one of these squares to the rhombuses. Because the important thing for rhombuses is that all sides are the same length. Okay, so let's draw a square, so 4 right angles, where all the sides are the same length. And I'm going to put in my right angles so I know it's a square. Okay, so squares can also be rhombuses. And parallelograms, all they need is for their opposite sides to be parallel. So let's look. Are squares parallel? Do they have lines that are parallel to each other? Yeah, they do. See, the left and right side are parallel and the top and bottom side are parallel. Same with rectangles. The top and bottom are parallel and the side to side are parallel. So under parallelogram, we're going to draw a square with 4 right angles. And we're going to write that it's 1, 1, 1, and 1. And then we're going to draw a rectangle with 4 right angles. We're going to make that like 5, 2, 5, and 2. Okay? All right, good job, you guys. You can exit out. Bye.